If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener.
Okay, Savatage, tonight he grins
or
again.
Savatage, depending on how you want to pronounce the name of the band.
Shout out to the big homie Mojo is our DJ. Here's
Yes,
his
sir,
the picture
Robert.
he wanted added to the stream. I think it's the album cover.
Yeah, to the rock opera.
Okay, next up on the list is Tonight He Grins Again.
Tonight he grins again, and there's no little intro doohickey for it,
Nope,
huh?
nope.
We're going straight
Right
into it.
into it.
All right. Straight into it. The name of this song is Tonight He Grins Again. The name of the band is Savatage. And we are doing their entire record, okay? The entire
2 days,
record.
back to back, today and
over
tomorrow.
2 days.
Yep.
Okay, so I don't know where you're going to find another channel that's going to dedicate this much time and energy to a classical record, start to finish.
The only way it happens is when a homie like Mojo rolls up in here and says, "This is what I desire to do," and gets it accomplished.
All right.
So,
Here we
yeah,
go.
our channel's doing it, but Mojo's the one getting it done.
Obviously, shout out to the big homie DJ Mojo, which is right over there.
Okay,
All right,
so
guys,
wait a
here
minute.
we go.
Does the next one not have one of those intros?
Yeah, it doesn't. Remember, they only let one.
That's
thing
right.
go.
And yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay.
But that one little conversation added so much character and context. I don't know. I'm not sure if I agree with the record label on that decision.
I don't know if I do either.
You know, the Protomen did that.
I know.
They had but they didn't. I mean, they would. Yeah, I
They
don't
had
know.
the music behind it, I think, and
Right.
stuff like.
Tonight he grins again. Let's do this shit. Oh, I'm gonna let this already. I love that progression.
Yeah.
That's very 80s. Oh my god.
Nighttime again. Seems I'm my only friend. I wander the streets alone, the lost in search of his own. pain. It's burning inside my veins. I walk away, a shadow of Dorian Gray. Once again I played the clown, used my friends and let them down. Walk the streets staring out, late at night the strange come out. Time again, I'm just looking for a friend. No one seems to be around, just this monkey that I found. Still is my only friend, and tonight he grins again. Tonight he grins again. Tonight he grins again. Living on the edge.
Wow.
Is that it?
Yeah.
What the? I'm not happy with that.
Why?
I'm not happy with that song length, bro. I really love that song. And I love what they did with the melody. There's another thing that I really love that they did too, that I'm like, oh, I gotta steal that shit. It's definitely like an 80s type progression. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's like totally that sound. I'm like, I'm gonna bring that shit back, my guy. I'm gonna bring that shit back. I'm gonna modernize it, but I love that shit. That was like such an 80s progression, the way they used to. There was a lot of anticipation, a big build up. You remember in the 80s, man, like late 80s, but everything was so exciting. Maybe it's because I was a little kid, but anytime I heard music, I always like wanted to run and stuff. Like 80s music just made you feel like
it was
like some like get burn some
but
energy.
the thing too, that there was like a lot of bright colors. You had
That's
the
what I'm saying.
neon.
It was bright.
You had like, you know, the blush that people, the men and women would both wear. But it was like really dark. Like everything was almost like at a theatrical level, just in the regular day. Like, I mean, even when you look at like some of the hairstyles that we had when we were like 6 or 8 years old, like this big thing, like everything was just overdone.
I know, like
we're fun.
We don't really know the 80s. I know that we don't really know the 80s. I mean, this song was released in 1991. We're talking about the 80s, but it still had that style.
Well, I
But
feel like that I can
exciting.
do that because Maine is always like 10 years behind.
Right.
So by the time that I was
she was
old
listening to
enough,
this shit in the year 2000, my God.
by the time I was old enough, like the 80s was happening when I was old enough to experience it because we're so far behind.
I see what you're saying.
So we had the neon clothes,
but there was
crazy
that
hair,
like it was just exciting. Like
yeah,
and I was like, that's when I was into martial arts. I was always doing my katas and shit. Like,
I could see how that'd be fun.
They had the big bass drums exaggerated and shit. I don't know. 90s, and obviously, you know, there's other music that carries voltage and energy, but like the energy of that kind, it was fun energy. It wasn't like I'm angry. It wasn't like I want to burn down the house. It was just like, and then they would have these movies, right, where the guy, like, he was a fighter, and then, like, Rocky, like, he'd have to train. So there are all these, like, extended clips of them in the beach working out or in the gym. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was like, oh, wow, they're, like, exerting themselves physically, but that's because he's prepping. He's going to kick that guy's ass by the end of the movie. You knew there was going to be a big showdown. It was a lot of energy. It just, like, I miss that kind of feeling as a kid, like how I was when I would see that stuff.
Yeah, but then you wonder, is it like
fun? Like the energy was fun, and there was a lot of like so many possibilities, and like you were always gonna win. The good guy's always gonna win. You just need to train a little bit harder. Just train a little bit harder. You'll be able to beat the guy. Go ahead.
It does kind of make you wonder, though, if it's just like the experience because we were kids. Because if I think
Before
about candy,
us,
like how much candy was like super exciting, and now I'm like,
yeah. That was actually one of the biggest things to me about being an adult.
What?
I realized I could get as much candy as I wanted. Nobody could stop me.
Yeah, you're funny. You go for candy like you're a kid.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you never lost the taste buds for
that was a big thing to me about being a kid. Okay. So this song is too short.
This was a sad one. Like
tonight he grins tonight or whatever. Tonight he grins again.
Yeah, like
this is a. I'm very upset at the length of this song.
How long was it exactly?
It was like, I don't know. It wasn't long enough. It was like 3 minutes and 30 seconds maybe. I don't know. Let's see. How long is it? Yeah, 3 minutes and 28 seconds.
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty much there.
Okay. So he said,
what was sad about the song?
Well, it was just sad because one is, I think that, you know, most of us, if we're honest with ourselves, can look at different points in our life where they were like, yo, that was a low point. that was not my best and shining moments were in that section of time. And so, like, in this, you
I don't
know
what you talking about. All of mine have just been progressively better.
Yeah, I know.
I actually really do think that. But go ahead.
But you must look at some stuff where you're like, I could have done that differently.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple things.
All right. I don't know, Vin. Okay. So
yeah,
anyway, so I'm just like looking at like, here's this guy. He had this opportunity with the music. He pissed it away, literally, probably, and he like left. And then he got into all these drugs, and it's like literally destroying his life. And then he says, "Nighttime again seems I'm my only friend." Like, well, that kind of sounds
Middle
like
Earth is here. I summon Middle Earth for you, Mojo.
And here he is. So
that's what happens when you're the DJ. You have your own concierge service. Hey, Middle Earth. He's like, damn it, I wish Middle Earth was here. So I was like, yo,
Vin was like, yeah, me too.
Let me hit him. So I texted the big homie Middle Earth. Shout out to Middle Earth. We love that brother.
Oh, he is working.
Yeah,
okay.
He's working. But he stopped by to work just to check up on his homie Mojo. See? It's a village, man. Forget it. All right, go ahead. I just love Middle Earth. Go ahead.
So when he says nighttime again seems I'm my only friend, it kind of sounds like this sort of self-pity. Wandering the streets alone, the lost in search of his own. But then he goes into verse 2, I guess it's verse 2, and he says, once again I've played the clown, used my friends and let them down.
See?
Walk the streets just staring out, late at night the strange come out. So, and he's walking around at night, and so he's calling himself strange while at the same time recognizing other people are strange. And so he at first just doesn't sound like he gets it. Like he's almost like, it sounds like he's like blaming, oh, I'm my only friend, poor me.
Right.
But then when he goes into the next part, he's saying like, look, I'm the one that did this. Like I've played the clown, I let my friends down, and now I'm in this situation. And so I felt bad for him in that place because, you know, I think that like all of our friends and people that have come from that lifestyle and like made it out of it, like I think that they had to have that moment where they were like, okay, I've ruined relationships, I've done all this whatever, and like you have to have like this real honest conversation with who you are and what you've done, and then you don't let yourself just stay bogged down in it, but you move out of it. And so this was sad because obviously he doesn't move out of it in this song. I don't understand what the monkey is that he's found, but there's that phrase that you have a monkey on your back, which I think is something that nags at you that won't let you go.
Yeah, I think that that's just a metaphor for his addiction.
That's what I was wondering. Still, he's my only friend, and I thought to myself, holy shit, if you get to the point where... Because I do think that substances can take on a sort of...
persona?
Yeah, I guess you could say persona, and people will sort of relate to them as a person. Like you'll hear them, it'll sometimes be described like a woman, or it will be described as like a friend, or like a warmth in the midst of coldness. And I think that when the substance has gotten to that point, you may not realize it, but it's extremely unhealthy. And because human beings to human beings, like we can have those types of relationships, but when a drug is that relationship for you, or a drug is that friend to you, it's bad.
Lamb of God used a dark mistress as a metaphor for alcohol.
Yeah.
And you know, in that song, The Dark Mistress of Many Beholden to None.
Yeah.
He anthropomorphizes the substance as a dark mistress of a woman, whereas this one, it's basically, I think it's going with the monkey on your back type phraseology. A monkey on your back is that thing that everybody kind of you're burdened with it. Everybody says, all that about you, and like, you got to get it off.
When he says that he grins again, which I think means
the addiction has power over him.
You're going again, yeah.
Yeah, like, I remember the first time I actually saw that phrase used. I'll never forget the night. It was Steve Young of the 49ers when they played the Chargers. Mm-hmm. Opening play, 87-yard strike to Jerry Rice. I'm like, yo, this is going to be a long night. But anyway, they won, and everybody was like taking this thing off, this invisible thing off his back, and it was, you know, you can't win a title yourself, because he was in the shadow of Tom Brady, basically, with Joe Montana. Yeah.
Oh.
So that's when I first heard it.
Oh, that's cool. That's pretty cool. Wow, really?
Yeah. The reason it stays in my head is because I had a family member that tried to take their own life, and we were an hour away from the ambulance coming and picking her up. So the kids were, the rest of us were home. It's my older brother, and so he basically got us pizza and sat us down in the living room and watched the Super Bowl. And while this incredibly traumatic thing had just happened in our family for the millionth time, and we followed along. We sat there and watched the Super Bowl. I cheered for him, blah, 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 and then we went to bed and went to school the next day.
Oh my gosh.
What can you do? But this is always a thing with people, like, in the throes of their addiction, man. It's like, if you just look at them, it's like, oh, my family abandoned me, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh, poor you. And that's why I said, like, we had a guy that we were taking texts. You know, we had a guy that we were taking care of, and he was in pretty bad shape. And, you know,
really bad shape.
his family, you know, and I remember somebody from the church was like, oh, that's terrible how they're treating him. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Our job is to love him and not judge him. But we don't know what his family went through. And like he said it right here, you know, he talks about, you know, using his friends or whatever, or letting, once again, I played the clown, used my friends and let them down. It's like, there are times when people abandon people in their time of need because they don't want to deal with like trying to help somebody and, you know, whatever. But there's also times where you keep pushing people, especially when those relationships kind of get solidified that way, where it's like, I'm the caretaker, you're the person I'm always supposed to be carrying, and people kind of get used to that system. And so when the caretaker decides, I'm not going to caretake you anymore, I have my own issues to deal with, now all of a sudden they're the bad guy, they're horrible, they're, you know, and the abuser is the big victim or whatever.
Yeah.
And I get it, like, that's what I'm saying, like, I think we just need to have grace for both groups of people. You know what I'm saying? But it is true, like, most of the time, if you've got an addiction issue or whatever issue you have, most of the time, if you're straight up with your family and your friends, people will absolutely surround you and try to take care of you. But what a lot of folks in this position refuse to do is take a responsibility for the fact that they've alienated them. They've done things that alienate other people.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is that like if you're the caretaker, you're sober the entire time that they're high, so they don't realize how fucking long it's been.
True.
So they feel like, yo, it's not that much. I mean, come on.
It's true.
But like you didn't live it. You flew through that high, so you didn't know.
That's a that's such a good point. Yeah. No, I agree with that. I agree with that. Especially if you're talking about hard drugs, you know. It's different. Yeah. I mean, in hard drugs, I'm also including alcohol. Like,
yeah.
You know, especially if somebody's abusing alcohol, I mean, there's nothing that'll delete your mind from what happened the day before.
That's
like
what
alcohol.
I'm saying.
Holy
yeah,
shit.
it's like so
that's a good
don't
point.
Know what you've been doing.
You don't know the full weight of what you're doing, and if you do remember it, it's like little snapshots, and you're like, oh, well, you know.
And maybe that's the first place to start. Maybe the first place to start isn't to go in there and say, hey, I'm trying to do it right, I need your help. Maybe it's to just sit everybody down and say, hey, how has my addiction affected you? And listen to what people have to say.
I'll tell you what, there's nothing worse to me, though, than a lonely person.
Oh, I know. I can't stand that, man.
It makes me really, really sad to think about people being alone when they can't help it. Like, I understand there's a lot of introverted people, and introverts, we need our time. But people that I'm always torn about like the internet and like our internet relationships real, and shouldn't you encourage people to touch grass? Shouldn't you encourage people to get out into the quote real world, whatever that is? But I'm also very, very grateful that we do have the internet, where if people are like, I went through a span like 4 or 5 months ago where I was doing live streams at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and there were people there, and like trying to figure out the sleep thing and all the rest of it. But there were people there that I could talk to. So that's a cool little blessing that technology has given us. And there's a lot of negative aspects of technology, but I really do like the fact that for the most part, we can create communities where people are not like completely and totally alone. And, I'm not sure about like, I've said about the internet that we've all probably collectively traumatized ourselves between what the political apparati, the various political apparati are using the media to do, on top of just regular social media toxicity, on top of, just the gore porn that gets shot. Oh, look, this cop shot this guy 60 times, and here is the video in slow motion. Things like that. The Uvalde thing, there's video of the Uvalde thing. They muted the thing so that you couldn't hear when the kids were getting shot and killed, but you could still watch. And my only point in saying that is to say that there's a lot of really bad things for your mental health on the internet. And I think in 20 to 30 years, some major groundbreaking study will come out that everybody in this generation has been self-traumatized and self-radicalized to a degree. But I will say about the internet too, though, is that there's a lot of Middle Earth, who I just texted, like, there's a lot of really cool people that I would not have known otherwise were it not for the internet. There's another guy, JLB, me and him talk,
He's here right now.
Oh, JLB's here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I just posted his thingamajiggy. So, like, I'm torn on the value and the contribution of the internet in the social discussion. But at minimum, I'm happy that, if you truly, truly want to find your tribe, you will definitely be able to find your tribe on the internet.
Yeah.
So for all the lonely people, I get it. But at least you can, you got the village, we got each other. So there's that. This is my favorite song on the record. This is a 9.8 for me.
This one is again a 9.8.
Really?
Yes.
You gave the other one a 9.7 though, didn't you?
No, I gave all of these a 9.8.
I really, really, really love this. I love this song. It's my favorite song.
Yeah.
This song actually is going on my playlist actually.
It's a good one, and it.
I just feel like there's a lot of forgotten. There's things about the '80s that are kind of like cheesy, but there are certain things about '80s music and early '90s music that I would love to revive as far as our stuff, because I think it'll be cool. But this was my favorite song by them for sure. Okay, guys, a 9.8. What did you give it?
Zombieholic. I loved those early morning live streams because I wasn't so lonely.
Yeah.
I gave it a 9.8 as well.
Okay, guys, and it's 2 a.m. where Kevin is. Stay tuned, dear listener. We're not even
reality.
at the halfway point, so sit back, relax. We got more Vin, more Sori, more Mojo, more Zombieholic, and most importantly, more Savatage. Vin out.
Sorry, out.
Gone.